Hello everyone, and welcome to Noodle Journey, your destination for detailed and informative reviews of the instant noodle universe. And today I'm reviewing what looks to be a very interesting bag of noodles. This is a product I didn't know existed until last month, Paldo Gompaghetti. Before we get started, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy this content. So, quick story time. When I go to my Asian market, I usually have a plan when it comes to what noodles I'm buying. But sometimes they throw me a curveball and I spot something I didn't know about. And I don't know how new of a product this is, but when I was at the store last month, this was the first time I ever saw Gompaghetti, and I knew I had to buy it because it looks so interesting. You can find this in 4-packs for generally around $7 to $10 in stores or online, although its online availability seems to be a little limited right now, probably because I think this is new-ish, like I said. Now, way back in episode 6, I reviewed Paldo's premium Gom Tang product, and while the flavor was a little one-note, I did enjoy it well enough, and I've actually bought it and happily eaten it since. It's a mild garlicky soup with a nice milky consistency from a liquid pouch of rendered beef fat. And the idea with this Gompaghetti, from what I can tell with the packaging, is to create a kind of Korean-Italian fusion between that Gom Tang soup and a white spaghetti sauce. You can see the Italian flag there at the end of the product name in case it wasn't obvious. From the horse's mouth on the back of the package, this is a beef flavor black pepper vegetable fusion dish of Gom Tang and spaghetti. So a noodle with a black pepper beef flavored white sauce and vegetables instead of a beefy white soup with green onion. Fusion cuisine always intrigues me, so I'm excited about this. Sodium here isn't terrible at 1110 milligrams or 48% of your daily allowance. Pretty decent for instant noodles. Let's see what's inside. Okay, so while the Gom Tang soup used some pretty thin, very delicate noodles, Gompaghetti opts for Paldo's chunky, thick noodles made from wheat flour and potato starch. But there's no egg in these, so it's not true spaghetti despite the pasta concept. We've also got a powdered, it says soup base, but this is supposed to be a sauce, and a pack of vegetable flakes. Now, while premium Gom Tang used real beef fat in the ingredients, this is artificial beef flavoring in here. So, you know, stuff like dextrin and yeast extract. I'm a little disappointed in that, but what can you do? There's also garlic powder, corn powder, black pepper, and MSG in the sauce base. The flake packet is dried cabbage, carrot, bok choy, and soy protein, probably to mimic beef chunks. So funny enough, despite the promise of creamy beef flavor, this appears to be vegetarian unless I missed something, and I think even vegan. Speaking of vegan, before I get to cooking, the instructions say you can use either water or milk to make the sauce, specifically calling out the milk as the superior choice, and so I am going to use whole milk when I assemble this. But if you want to keep this dairy-free, water is an option. Just be aware that the consistency is almost assuredly going to look different than what I show in this review. With all that said, it's time to cook. All right, here's the noodles and veggies. We're going to add 50 milliliters of milk to it after it's drained. And now you add the soup powder / sauce powder, and you stir it to make up the sauce. That does not smell great to me, but maybe once it's all mixed up, it'll change. Okay, it looks like it's all dissolved. It's rare that something smells unappealing to me, but I'm going to be honest, I don't love the way this smells. It smells like someone put black pepper into wet cat food. It's got a very funky umami-forward aroma to me, almost definitely the yeast and probably corn. Also, I'd like to point out that the sauce this is making doesn't really stick to the noodles very well. It's kind of all settled at the bottom here. I think a liquid sauce packet would have worked better here, but let's taste it and find out. Alright, the good news is it doesn't taste quite like it smells, but let me get the noodle and spice scores out of the way first. The noodles seem to be the same great stuff I've had in other Paldo packs before. I do love them. They're super thick, nice and starchy, somewhat similar to spaghetti, which was the intent here. Very wonderful chewy texture. 9 out of 10 for the noodles. As far as spice, there's nothing to worry about here except for a generous amount of black pepper. So only those of you who can't handle black pepper would find this to be overly spicy. So 1 out of 10 for the spice score. Let's get into the flavor. Now, thankfully, it doesn't taste like cat food and black pepper. It tastes like fake cheese with garlic and black pepper. The artificial beef flavor in here is just all wrong to my taste buds. Super artificial tasting, not even close to the real thing. Really, this doesn't come off as beefy noodles. It actually comes off as a Korean version of the Italian dish cacio e pepe, but with yeast and corn flavor instead of cheese. The combination of black pepper and yeast is overwhelming, and I'm just not getting a lot of other flavors. The garlic is there, but it gets overwhelmed pretty quickly. And the garlic flavor is one of the things I really liked about the premium Gompang soup. Even the vegetables are overwhelmed by these flavors. The cabbage and bok choy taste like nothing against the sauce. The carrots work okay, but you'd never know that the cabbage and bok choy were there, aside from the leafy texture that they're adding. There's a couple nice things I can say. The consistency of the sauce using whole milk, now that it's been sitting for a couple minutes, is nice. Using water will obviously make it less thick, but it's also a good option for vegans. These soy protein beef chunks are really good as a contrasting texture and with a nice meat adjacent flavor. I could use a little more of them. I only counted maybe 4 or 5 in this whole pack, but they're the real standout here. The package does suggest adding things like bacon, mushrooms, and cheese to doll this up, and I can honestly see those things improving on the flavor and texture overall. But in order to be fair, all my reviews are done on the base product and not on anything that I add after the fact. And so I will say that to me, this is only worth eating if you're willing to go the extra mile to heavily customize it to your liking. As it stands, I think it's a great concept for a product, but the choice to use all of these artificial flavorings is just not resonating with me. Excellent noodles, decent flake packet, disappointing flavor. This is a 3.5 out of 10 for me as an overall score. If you've got dietary restrictions and don't mind the artificial flavoring in here, I think this might be worth a look for you. But for me and my taste buds, I think this is a misfire, and the amount of work I would need to do to jazz this up is not worth it in my opinion. It's not totally inedible. Like, I'm going to finish this, and this may appeal to certain noodle or pasta fans, but I'm not one of them. It's a shame because I think the idea is pretty cool. Oh well. If you've tried these, I'd love to hear your thoughts. I wonder if it's just me. I think this is the first time I've been disappointed by a Paldo product. I just saw Samyang launched a line of Italian-Korean fusion pasta too, so I'll be checking one of those out soon. Hopefully it goes better than this. If you have any cool Asian-Italian fusion recipes you've made, I'd love to hear about those in the comments as well. And with that, I will see you next time on Noodle Journey.